Regulation 2.4 lists the international, regional, or sub-regional organizations whose documents we recognized, in addition to the passports from their member states, namely the United Nations, excluding its agencies except for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the African Union, the Southern African Development Community, and the African Development Bank. As you can see, the World Passport is not recognized under the Immigration Regulation 2.4. Proper procedures were followed for his arrest. A warrant was obtained. He faces charges for contravening the Immigration Act 13 of 2002 as follows. Section 49, paragraph 14 on the Immigration Act, misrepresentation made by Mr. Smith using a false identity. Section 49, paragraph 15 of the Immigration Act, presentation of a document not issued by a lawful authority. Section 49, paragraph 2, read with Section 42 of the Immigration Act, aiding and abetting his family to stay illegally in South Africa. Mr. Smith will appear for trial on 8 March 2016 to answer the immigration charges. His family has received an order to leave the Republic by 29th January 2016. As a democratic state that is so indebted to the international community for its trajectory of freedom, democracy, and justice, we have no reason whatsoever to do anything consciously to undermine any person's human rights. Since the dawn of democracy, we have been open and will remain open and receptive to other countries and their people, as long as this is done within the confines of the law. Our international human rights record is very clear, as shown by, among other things, the volume of asylum seekers and refugees we receive in the country every year, our liberal immigration policies, and the humane and lawful manner in which we deal with all persons, including those found to be in transgression of the laws of the country. We find comments attributed to Mr. David Gallup of the World Service Authority unfortunate and condescending, especially being preached to about the values and principles of former President Nelson Mandela, when a matter is purely about adherence to our immigration laws. We have long demonstrated commitment, the principle of protecting those fleeing from prosecution, even those who are facing threats, still subject themselves to our laws. For all to be and feel safe, it is incumbent upon us to implement the law without fear, favor, or prejudice. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. This is now your opportunity to ask us questions. I'm sure you are all familiar with the drill. You just raise your hand and state what media house you come from and your name, and then you can shoot away with your question. So just by a show of hands, I'll take questions. There's a lady right at the back there. You have to project your voice. You can start with the question, and then we'll...
I just want to find out the documents that most try to leave the country with? Is it determined as to how he obtained those documents? Who helped him to get those documents? Have your investigations perhaps yielded any sort of indication to that?
There's another hand in the third row from the front.
Yeah, okay, thank you. My name is Govan from Eyewitness News. First of all, I see in the charges here you've charged him with using a fake identity. If you could just clarify which identity you tried to leave the country with. And then, DG, if you can comment on the seriousness of the offense that was committed by Mr. Smith. And then, lastly, have you, in a response to his claims this morning that he's being held against his will and that he's been spied? Thank you.
We'll take your question.
Notable species from ENCA. I'd like to know if the department, Notable species from ENCA. I'd like to know if the department is aware of Kanye West's website and the mixed freestyle song that's up on the website, basically talking to South Africa and how there will be no parties in SA, the remix version of it.
So, DG, we'll take those three questions. Look, firstly, you must understand our DG does not listen to hip hop. So
it's already past that bracket.
So I doubt the DG wakes up in the morning and visits Kanye West's website. But ourselves, we are familiar with the website. All we can say is that we've been speaking to the Department of Arts and Culture. Our government has been very welcoming to artists from all over the globe. And all those artists come to South Africa using regular passports. So we've had a great deal of artists who come to South Africa, and they've subjected themselves to our laws. We also have South African artists who travel to the UK and to the US, and they subject themselves to their laws. So we won't be dismissive about any call for the boycott of South Africa, but I think South Africa has clearly displayed that it is open to people who want to travel and respect our laws. But you can't hold the country ransom and say that if we don't allow people to contravene our laws, then people are not going to come to South Africa. I think that's an unfair position to put the country in. But as it is, we're open to people into our country. So, TJ, I'll hand
Thanks. Well, as we have explained in the statement, is to say he came to the country using a US passport, and then by the time now he's leaving, is using another document. Now then that rings a bell to say the visa which he had is valid up to 28th of February 2016. So why he did not use the same document which he came using it? The next thing is using this document, which was saying is not recognized in terms of our immigration law, which is this thing called a world passport. So whoever issued it, on what basis, has got nothing to do with the South African government. The South African government recognized a passport from another government or of those listed international organizations. And as you know, the law is a public document, it is there. So that was the issues that was traveling with that document, which is not the one which he used to come with it and which is not recognizable by the country. Therefore, on the second question, if now that document is not recognized by us, it is not a proper document. Because in the countries in the world, we are clear what passport of South Africa looks like. How is the passport of US looks like? And based on that database, I'm able to know that if we are carrying a passport, you call it is from China. I know what are the security features of that passport. When we scan it, then that system is going to tell us, but this passport of China is not the one which is recognizable in the world. So that's why again I was saying that document is a fake to us because it does not meet those requirements. Well, in terms of what are the seriousness of the charges, they are. If they were not, we wouldn't have arrested him. They are very serious. You can't break the laws of the other country. As good as in South Africa, whether we are a citizen in our country, we are not allowed to break the law. We'll deal with you on that basis. Well, that you have broken a law of a particular country or on anything. So if I can be arrested for drunk and driving, I'm not saying I do so. But I'm sure I will say I'm not arrested in my will. I still say it is against my will because I want to proceed where I was going. But the fact of the matter, I've broken the law. So we don't arrest anybody who comes to our country, but with a gentleman we're dealing with the matter. And is out on bail, and then based on that bail, which the court, based on the seriousness of the matter, gave conditions that he must go and appear in the police station on this number of days. So for sure to me, that indicates that the courts themselves are recognizing the transgressions as serious.
Thank you, DG. We'll take another round of questions so you can shoot away. You're not audible, sir. That's a good one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
My name is Yao. I'm from the UH, the newspaper. I'm speaking to the immigration lawyer, the one who's behind the case. He says it was one misunderstanding because Mr. Smith apparently had gone to the U.S. consul to announce his citizenship, and then they took hold of his travel document, the one that would have been recognized by the country. And that was the case because, and then he used the world passport based on the fact that he did not have in his possession that particular document that would have not put him in his possession. I don't know if you've been in contact with the people from America at any point with the investigation.
Thank you. We'll take the. Okay, let me take some new people. We'll take you, sir.
Sipoma Sunguka for the Times newspaper. DG, this so-called world passport, have you ever encountered such a document before, and what is it according to your observation? What is this document? Thank you.
Thank you, Butsipo. One more question.
Yeah, the same question I asked last time, it says that he was charged with using a fake identity, so just wanted to find out what the identity is. And then just for confirmation, whether you've received any application for asylum from Mr. Smith. Thank you.
Would you mind if we answer these three and come to you first second round? Okay, you know what? I don't want to make you angry, so please ask the question.
Okay, my question really links to Simo's question. I want a clear definition of what is a world passport, and if maybe you can give us clarity. I don't know if your investigations have, it goes back to my first question. Is there an indication as to the basis of what was he issued or given the so-called world passport? How did he obtain that document?
It's not a real document. You go on and you pay and you apply.
Sorry, to the gentleman in the third row. The DG answered that question about the fake identity by saying we don't recognize the passport, therefore it's an illegal document. So, DG, we can go to the issue about the U.S. consulate.
Yes, yeah. Well, you see, citizenship is really a major issue for any country. That's why in South Africa we start by recording your birth. Once your birth has been registered, then you go to what we call the National Population Register. Then once you attain your age 16, then you get an ID document. And in terms of the South African law, it is clear on what basis you can be a citizen of the country. One, if both of your parents are South African citizens, then you are a South African citizen. If one of your parents is a South African citizen, then you are a citizen. Then that's how you get the citizenship. Or is through a process of naturalization if you have gone through the immigration processes. Then at what point or how do you denounce your citizenship? I can't stand up here today and just come to my home and say, no, I'm no longer a South African now. Surely, if there is that kind of a process to register your citizenship, it will also be a process of denouncing your citizenship. I'm sure you are aware of, in South Africa, that how do we deal with the issue even of dual citizenship? To say, if your country of origin does allow citizenship, dual, will also give you a citizenship. But if it is not, we cannot. Not unless you denounce it. But I can't get it from you. Surely you're going to get a document from your country to say, I am no longer a citizenship of this country. Because if we can do that, it means now we can willy-nilly denouncing people's citizenship as we feel or as they feel. So it can't be correct that now we must listen that he has gone and said, I announced my citizenship. That's why now today I'm traveling with this document. Must give us a documentary proof for that. So that's what this thing now means. Then secondly, so if Craig Smith said he has denounced the citizenship, surely come to us, give us the proof, that's it. And then we'll apply the rule of when you have denounced the citizenship of another country. Have we ever encountered this kind of a document? We encounter a lot of the documents. That's why we've got the system called a movement control system at our ports of entry. And then that system has got risk engines. As I've said initially, that we start, that countries in the world goes and say, there's an organization called ICAO, which universally manages the issues of traveling, passports, rules, and all that. Then now, based on that, as countries in the world, we deposit the specimen of our passports in those systems. Also, that system links with Interpol. If I committed crime somewhere, and then I'm in that database, you come to our port, you put your fingerprint on that passport, we link you, pick you up. So what it means now is that those documents there are a lot of them. And then we always confiscate them and deal with the person who comes to us with our fake document or whatever. Well, when we talk about an identity document, you remember an identity document is not only an ID book. A passport is an identity document because it does give who you are, because that thing is to identify yourself. Countries agreed in the world that you don't use your identity document, which is the ID book or a smart card in our case to travel, is the passport. So a passport is a world-recognized identity document which you use to travel with. So if now, so that's what we're saying, that's the identity which was used. Let's come now to this issue of a world passport. I don't think for us as a country, we want even to be concerned about how you apply for your document or whatever. That is not our responsibility. I cannot be interested, how do you apply for a passport in Botswana, what do you follow and all that. That is not what I'm interested in. What we have is that Botswana gave us, this is our specimen of our document. If when I scan that document meets the requirement, that's it. But if in South Africa, when you apply your passport, I say first, you must have an identity document. You are in the NPR. Other countries might not do so. So this World Passport is an organization which is, I think, it's in New York, and then anyone can go and apply and do whatever, which they are fine if they do that. But for us, that document is not accepted. And I can't say to anyone, go and get it or not, but won't travel to South Africa with that document.
Thank you, DG. We'll open up the round for more questions if there are any. I take it everyone is covered. DG will be available for one-on-ones for about 5 minutes afterwards. But thank you all for coming. Have a good day.